Well, you heard a lot of what was said there, but we'll come to some of these symptoms and signs that the commissioner spoke about. But let's pick it up from where we left off before we went to break. You were talking about some of those signs. You've seen people who spoke about it on social media, and then people got trails. That's the point you were making. Could you go ahead with that, please?
Yes, I was just saying that most often than not, because of the fact that mental health services in Nigeria is not yet well integrated into the communities, it's still more like pockets of services located in the big cities and all that. So a lot of people who want to talk about their mental health, who want to talk about the psychosocial problems that they may be facing, are more likely to talk with people within the community, their friends, their pastors, but many a times the understanding of community dwellers about when people talk about their state of mind or what they are going through or their views about suicidal behaviors and all that can easily be seen as, oh no, you are not going anywhere. I mean, we are in this together. You know, that kind of joke that people crack with. And sometimes people are dead serious about what they were talking about. So I think one of the areas that we need to work on is in appreciating that these issues are real, that from time to time people, for reasons of depression, for reasons of psychosocial problems, for reason of just misunderstanding some issues in their minds, people have gotten to that point where they have thought of suicide when that thought has crossed their mind. And like I was explaining before, that the most critical point is that point when you are thinking about it.
Okay, because I see a tweet here from his name is Danny. He says, I often think about taking my own life. I'm worried. How may I get help?
Yes. You see, that is now somebody that has spoken out. That is a call for help. Ideally, I would say that person needs to see a specialist who can, because again, if you have had that thought, it could be as a result of a mental health problem. It could be as a result of a psychosocial problem. It could be as a result of a variety of reasons, which we need to first unravel and understand why you have had that thought. And then to determine the seriousness of that thought, because again, I told you it's a spectrum. And then there could be intervention. And that is why we have been saying that it is important that psychological, mental health services, even the basic form of it, need to become more available at the community level, where because if I work in LASUT, for instance, I'm a psychiatrist. I don't know where the tweet is coming from. The tweet can as well be coming from Ekpe. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, well, I'm at LASUT, come and see me. I mean, that is not service delivery.
You don't have a roving office that can move around to try to reach people like him that just tweeted.
Well, at least we have not gotten to that level, and we were not thinking that would be the best approach. The best approach would be, there is a primary health center in almost every ward.
Do they provide psychiatric help?
Well, they do not as we speak. What I'm saying is that the structure is there. Personnel are there. Can we now be talking about how we can integrate these services into all those places where people go to take care of their malaria, where pregnant women go and receive their antenatal services? Of course, not a very minute percentage of people come to the big hospitals. Many people solve their health problem in the most basic case. But the only problem is that the skills set needed to deliver basic mental health services are not there. And they don't need to have a psychiatrist there. Those skills can be transferred to the community health nurse, to even the medical officer who is not as it were, a specialist in it, so that when people come, and we also have to have a program that encourage people to talk about their mental, because people go to the
I'm not
hospital,
stigmatized
they
them.
just tell you about how they have been running fever, how they have been having body aches, and sometimes it's just require you to have asked that question.
Do you think that there's an increase in the psychosocial challenges for people today in our society?
Well, naturally, when there is economic downturn, when there is climate change.
You mean our recession now?
Yes, when there is increase in the rate of rural-urban migration, all these things disrupt the life of people, and the chances are that there can be an increase in the prevalence of psychological and psychosocial problems. But psychological and psychosocial problems has always been with us. It may have increased, but I do not think that increase is very wide. It's just that it's coming more to our awareness. If what happened to this gentleman had happened 30 years ago, in the age of when there was no social media and all that, even before media houses we even get to know, it could be after about 3 days, because the rate at which information travels now has increased dramatically. So the chances are that what people are going through, people talk more about themselves on social media, the ease of flow of information has increased. So that may have actually been the explanation for the reason why it does appear that there has been an increase. There had always been a crisis, but maybe not appreciated because information flow has not been as good as it is now.
Okay, let's get Marquez's question in. Go ahead, please.
How do we identify signs of depression, and when do you know that you should get help?
Well, thank you. Well, the common signs of depression that we know include things like a pervasive feeling of unhappiness that is sustained, and you find it a bit unusual for you. I mean, we all know our average level of happiness. When you feel for some maybe 2-3 weeks you have been feeling somewhat unhappy, or you have been feeling as if you have been drained of energy, what people describe as feeling weak from within. But of course, I'm not talking about 2 or 3 days. I'm talking about something that has been sustained and happening together at a time when you have not been feeling so happy. When you are beginning to lose interest in those things that used to interest you, you are this person that is a football fan, you always love to go and watch Arsenal play Chelsea.
That sounds tricky, because if their team lose, they lose interest.
Well,
and people feel depressed.
Well, the feeling that we are talking about is not that feeling of you feeling a bit down because
even if it's consistent,
we are talking
that's
about
not
consistent, running beyond 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and even social interactions that you normally enjoy at workplace. People hail you, you no longer feel like giving them any response, you just feel like being on your own, then you start sleeping poorly, or you start sleeping too much, and then you start losing your appetite, and people start losing.
Let's look at the demographics now. What age gap or what age brackets do you see have these cases of prevalence in psychosocial issues?
Well, interestingly, mental health problems cut across all ages. What differs from age group to age group is the nature of mental health problems. For instance, depression is commoner in the extremes of ages like adolescence and the elderly, while say something like psychotic illnesses, we have its own more prevalent age group, but it cut across all age groups. We even have such subspecialty as child and adolescent psychiatry, which is suggesting that we are saying that from childhood till the end of life, mental health problems cuts across. So it's not something that you can box into demographics of age. It's just that, well, sometimes the nature of the illness may vary according to demographic, but it's a problem that is everywhere and cut across all ages. And talking about going back to Malpe's question, those are signs that one may feel, and when you see, there is no like a cut-off point where I say, oh, this is the point when I seek help. Anytime you are not feeling too well about yourself and you feel you are not feeling most you are not feeling most your mental health, you are not feeling most well in terms of your mental health, you want to talk to somebody. But of course, when people now talk to somebody, what we are talking about is those somebodies that they speak with, knowing when to now refer them to see a specialist, because it is not everybody that is feeling mildly or moderately depressed that needed to see a specialist. Mere talking to someone, psychosocial intervention, teaching somebody how to solve basic problems, because sometimes you just have an issue at work, an issue in your marriage, and things look a bit complicated for you, but somebody may just talk to you about why not do it this way, why not approach it this way, and then you have that feeling of a little ease, and then that may just be all what you need. But of course, somebody must be there who is able to identify, especially when people talk about ideas about ending their own life. That could be a very good
what we'll do, we'll have to try and see how we can get you to attend to him, because that's a very serious one. If he says he often gets that kind of thought, and then as many others who also like to get across to you, we'll try and get them. That's the Dr. Olayinka Atilola, who is a consultant psychiatrist in LASEMA. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back in a moment. Join us again.